Well, hi, this is Jason T. Ingram. I'm just checking in again, and I'm talking about bipolar mania lately. And it's a great time to be manic when you're listening to bebop jazz. So I'm putting on some Coltrane, but I will turn that down. And been doing some projects around the house, and I'm getting ready for an event. And I've been trying to do a house concert now for a while, and my house wasn't big enough. So now that I've made room here, hopefully I can get enough people in here. I was going to have 3 of us do one last Dialectic Flowers show with Tom before he moves back to New Mexico. So we just got done with a band appreciation dinner. And it was the most successful event I've done in a long time. I actually had more people than I expected, so that's pretty amazing. So I'm starting to realize that, oh my God, when things all fall apart, sometimes they do come back together. It's just when they don't come back together, I really panic. And when there's month after month of things slowly falling apart, when you add depression on that, it's really unbearable. So I don't blame myself for how I feel, because when somebody is living with debilitating depression, chronic fatigue, that is your world. Your world is all about giving up. Your world only sees the negative. You're looking through this tube, and the tube and everything is taking away all the colors you need to see, and it's taking away all the good you need to see, and it amplifies the negative. And it's a belief. It's like somebody who's religious. If they see the world through a creationist perspective, that's their belief system. A depressed person, when they're in the middle of a depression, it's going to be a similar thing, because their belief system is going to be altered, and it's altered by brain chemistry mostly. And so I really can't blame myself for how I felt. Just as I try not to blame myself for really talking a lot lately. And luckily I had a friend tonight who was able to really kindly help me to not be so negative. I'm still very negative. I'm still very, very hurt by a lot of things that have happened in recent months and years. And so it's nice to have people that can speak into my life and remind me, and to speak positive about myself, and to realize that things really, really have changed in the last several weeks. And the last 7 days have really been an example of that, of things coming together. And so this is part of what's coming together here. Is this monstrosity of equipment and instruments. Most of it isn't worth much. A couple of new things I got earlier this year. But a lot of this stuff is hand-me-downs, especially my drums. I mean, it's really cool building this drum set. I think there's almost a dozen different sounds. There's more if you count my little tinkly things and some of the other stuff that I put on there. This is from a lamp that I took apart. And this is, of course, the queen of Dialectic Flowers herself, the mascot for the progressive rock band Dialectic Flowers, because we are ambient and we're mellow, and my cat loves our music most of the time. Our last show got a little loud, and this show might get a little loud because I wanted 3 people and now I have 6. So I had a band here 2 years ago is when I started recording for this project, and it was just me. 2 songs, and then I added another guy for another song that we did, and then we recorded another album last year when we started playing, and everything just kept falling apart, and getting a gig was horrible, to the point when I couldn't play in nightclubs anymore. Folks really were getting to the point when I was feeling like I was in continually abusive situations, and it got unbearable. And so this is really cool to be able to have this kind of room to do something in my house, and we're going to film it on a green screen, so we could do some effects that we key in. We're going to have some video and some art, and just put in a bunch of footage so we can play against whatever we put in post-production. So that's going to be really cool. And we've got some new people that we're going to rehearse tomorrow night. And this whole, everything is so incredibly stressful. It's just like unbelievable that I'm still going. And considering what I came out of and losing my mind and losing just about everything that I was working on and seeing it fall apart, it's kind of surreal to see it come together. And it's coming together in a way that I didn't expect it to. Now, it's also not coming together as fast as I want it, because when you wait 25 or 30 years of trying to get original music out there, nothing seems to go fast, because it all seems to need to happen 25 years ago. And I'm thankful that it didn't happen then, because I would not have been able to handle it. I can barely handle it now, and I am been really thankful, because tonight at this appreciation dinner thing, it really was amazing to realize how grateful I am and how blessed I am. And also with this manic period I'm going in, and I've talked about this before, is that there are kind of micro periods that happen within this. This cat is so funny. She's turning into an outdoor cat, and so she's spending all this time outside and really enjoying it. And I think it's kind of interesting how, if you've ever had a companion pet before, they really do tend to mimic my moods. She mimics a lot of things that I'm going through. So, for instance, here I'm finding my purpose, and I'm following it, and I'm following my dream and everything. Meanwhile, my cat starts actually chasing mice for once in her life. She might have done that before, when her first 3 years she was in different houses. But now she doesn't want to hardly get inside. And she's such a good cat that she never leaves the backyard. It's amazing. I put her out there, and she's too clumsy to jump the fence, so she just stays in there the whole time and chases bugs and just has a grand day, and then she doesn't hardly want to come inside. So it's great. So there's this feeling in the house of accomplishing things and things starting to move and things starting to happen. And my panic attacks have gotten way, way worse, and they're exhausting. I mean, just at the end of the day, sometimes I work 6 hours, 8 hours a lot of times. I work usually from about 2 to 6 in the afternoon, and then I start up again around 8 or 9 o'clock, and then I work till about 11, sometimes later. And if I really get into a project and I'm not frustrated with it, I can work, almost all night sometimes. And that can be a good thing, because when I'm motivated to work, it's really cool, because I start feeling the joy and I start feeling the energy of the project. So I was able to mix down our last performance from my band, and I like it because it turned out the way I wanted it to. It wasn't the sound anybody else liked, but I liked it because I wanted it just to be this digital mess of mud and reverb and noise, and a little different than what we're doing. So this show's going to be a little bit more rock and more jazz, more popular stuff, and I would like to market this video. And the way I see it, though, we work so hard on our performances, and now with this home setting, I don't have to do any marketing. I don't have to feel like I have to take all this shit across town. This here would be about 3 van loads of what we're going to be using this weekend. So that's a lot less stress to deal with. So I think this is going to be a good thing. And the weird thing is that I had to really, really hound people for help. And now I've got folks that just were like, hey, can I help? Can I be a part of this? And it's like, wow, yeah, cool. And that just rarely ever happens in my career, which is just like, for instance, last week I had a little barbecue because I was trying out a new bass player to teach him some music last week. And I was using these charcoal brickouts my mom gave me years ago that she probably had like 10 years ago. And so my charcoal kept going out, and I had to relight those things 3 times. Meanwhile, these burgers are sitting there, you know, hardly getting cooked, and I feel like, oh my God, that just feels like trying to breathe life into something that just keeps dying, and it just keeps dying, and it's just so frustrating to try to keep, like, herding cats, you know. It's like, hey, could you please help me? Could you please help me? And then people kind of fade out, and then I have to start over, and then sometimes there's folks that want to be included that I didn't realize it, so I really am having a hard time learning how to work with people. And being in a leadership role and being sensitive to other people's needs and their feelings, it's hard for me because I don't get a lot of that from people, because my feelings are almost impossible to meet the needs of all of my intense feelings that are going on. It is. It's kind of like, this is what I call spaghetti. Yeah. Sometimes I wish my bass guy was here because he's so good at organizing cables. He's a professional audio engineer. And so not having him being very involved in the last several months has been kind of hard, but he's been busy, and that's okay. And losing our guitar player is also okay, because the band is me. It's my project, and whoever I hire, and people really do contribute a lot to it. But yeah, most of it really is kind of like King Crimson. And it's pretty much all Robert Fripp and whoever he hires and stuff like that. So that's how I run my band. So there's kind of a way that I've designed the structure of this particular project to where there have been some people that have really tried to sabotage some of our live stuff and really stand in the way and cancel gigs that we're scheduling. I mean, just some horrible things have happened. And so I've been able to find ways to design the kind of government and the business end of it so I won't allow people to get in the way. And calling myself Fake Zappa has been fun too, because it's a great reminder that Frank Zappa had an amazing music career, and his was really unique. And I'm taking aspects of his career and putting that in my multimedia art career. And music is a big part of it. And yet, I really get tired of just playing keyboard all the time. And so I'm really glad to not have a nightclub career. And today I got asked to play bass at a gig next month. So I don't know if I can make it, but that's cool though. So I'm really, really trying to count my blessings. And also with this panic attack thing that's been happening, oh my God, I think it was Sunday? Yeah, I had a self-care day on Saturday. And by Sunday I was getting back to work, getting back to projects. And this often happens though, after a day of rest and I get back into working. And sometimes it has to do with the fact that I have a big to-do list and I start looking at things on my list and I start one task and I just start to panic and I can't control it. And so I just got to remember a buddy of mine, one of my biggest support people, was telling me a lot of times with panic attacks, you just let them happen and you just keep going. Now, that's okay unless the panic attack makes it so impossible to get anything done where it's just debilitating. And that's what was going on last winter. The panic attacks were so severe that I just could not do anything. My brain just ceased to work. Earlier this month, the same thing happened, and it really scared me. And I hope it doesn't continue that way, but I'm really glad the way things are going right now. So I wanted to show you my mood chart. And I have a place for panic attacks. And so this is how bad they were. In fact, they were so bad, I didn't even mark it in the right square. And my moods have really been kind of all over the place. But overall, though, this is definitely a manic period that started in late May. And I used this opportunity to get stuff done. So, one of my projects is cleaning up this room. And I'm just learning how to hire help too, and how I am really needing to be more confident when I hire people and be more organized and be more encouraging with people and treat them like I would want to be treated when I've worked for so many people who really took advantage of me, and I don't want that on anybody. So, yeah, learning a lot of really amazing stuff about how I function and how I can cope with it. And I just found out today that I do, in fact, have enough medications to last me probably another 4 weeks or so. So that's good, because I thought I ran out of my mood stabilizer in a couple days, because my new provider, this particular one, although I really get a better feeling from this medical insurance I switched to, I might have to do some more self-advocacy, which I don't want to do that anymore. It's a part-time job that I should not work, trying to manage my health care just so I can actually get a doctor and see them, get medications, get therapy. And I was wondering, so I'm coming back from this meeting today, and I was asking a couple friends of mine who are both peers, and I asked them if either of them had a therapist. And it's so true. The more severe a mentally disabled person is, they typically don't have the privilege of actually seeing a psychotherapist. And most folks outside of the mental health community don't even realize that. Most providers don't. My family doesn't even realize that this is the reality of people that are mentally disabled. Is it's expensive to find a therapist. When we do find a therapist, sometimes we can only see that therapist once a month or two, like it was for me last year, every 2 months. And as of right now, I don't have access to any therapist at this point, and I'm going to have to work a bit. But luckily, I can get back with the provider I had a couple years ago based on my new insurance policy, and that's covered, so that's good. So we'll see how that works out, and I'm going to keep folks posted with that. And I'm working again, and I had this glimmer, I think it was yesterday, when I was setting up some of this stuff, because I hate troubleshooting all this equipment. Because, I mean, this is just some of the stuff that's plugged in. And these are a couple things I haven't plugged in yet that I don't know where to find outlets, because those are almost full, and those are full, and then I've got, this one is for other band members, and then I have some more back here. So that is a lot of electronic devices. And I'd rather have them all mess up hair at my house than when I'm on stage, because I've had more equipment failure in the last 18 months with this band than I've had with any other project, just because there is so much room for failure. So, signing off again. Thanks for watching. Thanks for putting up with me pacing around my house again. And hopefully I will talk a little more about the kind of work I'm doing and how exciting it is. And yes, I did get this feeling recently, and I thought, what is that? And I thought, well, that's joy, because I enjoy this stuff, and I'm following my dream. I should allow myself to enjoy this really stressful stuff, because as much as it is stressful, it's really fun. And I'm really, really grateful to have all the resources that I do right now.